This nutrient stops muscle loss and keeps you walking strong, even in your 90s. Well-being in old age. And this one nutrient stops muscle loss and keeps you walking strong, even in your 90s. Well-being in old age. Do you ever feel like your legs aren't as strong as they used to be? Maybe you notice it when climbing stairs, getting out of a chair, or simply walking for longer periods. It's frustrating, isn't it? And let's be honest, losing muscle as we age can be scary. Nobody wants to feel weak or unsteady, and the thought of falling is something none of us want to deal with. But what if I told you there's a simple way to stop this muscle loss in its tracks? Not with expensive supplements or extreme workouts, but with one powerful nutrient that most people overlook. Yes, just one nutrient could mean the difference between walking confidently in your 90s or struggling to move freely. And here's the best part. It's not too late. No matter your age, you can start protecting your muscles today and keep yourself strong, steady, and independent for years to come. But before I tell you what this nutrient is, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed your legs feeling weaker over time? Have you ever had a moment where you thought, wow, I used to do this so easily? Let me know in the comments because you're not alone in this. Now, are you ready to find out how to keep your muscles strong no matter your age? Muscle loss is something that happens to all of us as we age. But here's the thing. Most people don't even realize it's happening until it's too late. It starts slowly, maybe in your 50s or 60s, and by the time you reach your 70s or 80s, you might notice you're not as steady on your feet as before. This process has a name, sarcopenia. It's the natural loss of muscle mass, and if we don't do something about it, it can lead to weakness, difficulty walking, and even dangerous falls. Think about it. When your muscles shrink, even simple tasks like standing up from a chair, walking across the room, or carrying groceries become harder. You might feel tired more often, avoid certain activities, and before you know it, your independence starts slipping away. That's what makes muscle loss so dangerous. It's not just about strength. It's about your ability to live the life you want. But here's the good news. This doesn't have to be your reality. You can fight muscle loss at any age, and it starts with giving your body the right nutrition. And that brings us to the one nutrient that can make all the difference. The one thing that can keep your muscles from wasting away and help you stay strong, even in your 90s. Before I reveal what it is, let me ask you, have you ever had a moment where you felt weaker than before? Maybe you had trouble standing up from the couch, or your legs felt shaky after a long day. If so, you're not alone. Tell me in the comments, because sharing your experience might help someone else going through the same thing. Now let's talk about this powerful nutrient and why it's so essential. The nutrient I'm talking about is protein. That's right, good old-fashioned protein. You've probably heard about it before, but most people don't realize just how critical it is, especially as we get older. Here's why protein is so important. Your muscles are constantly breaking down and rebuilding. When you're younger, your body does a great job of repairing muscle tissue, but as you age, that process slows down. If you're not eating enough protein, your body doesn't have the materials it needs to rebuild your muscles. And over time, that's when muscle loss happens. Most people assume that protein is only for athletes or bodybuilders, but that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, older adults need even more protein than younger people just to maintain their muscle mass. Studies show that seniors who don't get enough protein lose muscle faster and have a harder time recovering from injuries. But here's where it gets tricky. Many older adults simply don't eat enough protein. Maybe you've lost your appetite a little as you've gotten older, or maybe you've been told to eat less meat for health reasons. Whatever the case, if you're not getting enough protein, your muscles are paying the price. So how much protein do you actually need? Experts recommend at least 1 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight for older adults. That means if you weigh around 150 pounds, 68 kilos, you should be eating at least 68 to 82 grams of protein per day. And if you're recovering from an illness or injury, you might need even more. Now, before we move on to how you can add more protein to your diet, I want to hear from you. Do you think you're eating enough protein every day? Or do you think this might be something you need to improve? Let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, now let's talk about how you can easily get enough protein without making drastic changes to your diet. The good news is, adding more protein to your diet doesn't have to be difficult. You don't need to eat huge steaks or drink special protein shakes, unless you want to. There are simple ways to increase your protein intake with foods you probably already enjoy. One of the best sources of protein is lean meats like chicken, turkey, and fish. These options are packed with high-quality protein that your muscles can use right away. If you like red meat, Small portions of lean beef can also be a great source, especially if you pair them with vegetables and whole grains. But what if you don't eat a lot of meat? No problem. Eggs are an incredible source of protein, and they're easy to prepare. Whether you like them scrambled, boiled, or in an omelette, eggs can help keep your muscles strong. Dairy products like Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and milk are also fantastic. They not only provide protein but also calcium, which helps keep your bones strong. Greek yogurt, in particular, is a great option because it's high in protein and easy to digest. And let's not forget about plant-based proteins. Foods like beans, lentils, tofu, and quinoa are great choices, especially if you prefer to eat less meat. Nuts and seeds, like almonds and chia seeds, also provide protein along with healthy fats that support overall well-being. One trick to make sure you're getting enough protein throughout the day is to include it in every meal. Instead of having just toast or cereal for breakfast, try adding eggs, Greek yogurt, or even a protein smoothie. For lunch and dinner, focus on meals that include lean meats, beans, or dairy products. And if you ever find yourself struggling to eat enough protein-rich snacks can help. A handful of almonds, a piece of cheese, or a boiled egg can make a big difference in keeping your muscles strong. Now, before we move on to the next part, let me ask you, do you already eat any of these protein-rich foods? Or do you think you need to make some changes? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what works for you. All right, now let's talk about the biggest mistakes people make when it comes to protein and muscle loss, so you can avoid them. A lot of people think they're doing everything right, but small mistakes in diet and lifestyle can speed up muscle loss without them even realizing it. Let's go over some of the most common mistakes and how to fix them. One of the biggest mistakes is not eating enough protein at breakfast. Think about it. Many of us start the day with just toast, cereal, or maybe a cup of coffee. But after sleeping all night, your body is in a fasting state. Your muscles need fuel, and if you skip protein in the morning, you're missing an important opportunity to support them. Instead, try adding eggs, Greek yogurt, or even a protein smoothie to your breakfast. Another mistake is not spreading protein intake throughout the day. Some people eat almost no protein for breakfast or lunch, then try to make up for it with a big steak at dinner. But your body can only use so much protein at a time. If you want to maintain strong muscles, aim to have protein in every meal instead of getting it all at once. A third mistake? Not combining protein with physical activity. Yes, eating enough protein is crucial, but your muscles also need to be used. If you're sitting or lying down most of the day, your body will break down muscle tissue no matter how much protein you eat. Even gentle movement like walking, stretching, or light strength exercises can make a big difference in keeping your muscles strong. Some people also rely too much on processed protein sources. While protein shakes and bars can be helpful in certain situations, they shouldn't replace whole foods. Natural sources like eggs, fish, lean meats, and beans provide other essential nutrients that your body needs. And finally, not drinking enough water can also be a problem. Your muscles are made up of about 75% water, and if you're dehydrated, they won't function properly, even if you're getting enough protein. So make sure to drink plenty of fluids throughout the day to support your muscle health. Have you ever made any of these mistakes? Or is there one that surprises you? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's move on to a real story. Someone who thought it was too late to rebuild muscle but completely turned their strength around. Meet Robert, a 78-year-old man who had always been active in his younger years. He loved gardening, going on walks, and playing with his grandchildren. But over time, things started to change. At first it was subtle. He noticed that standing up from the couch took more effort. His legs felt weak after short walks, and climbing stairs became a struggle. One day, while walking in his backyard, he lost his balance and fell. Thankfully, he wasn't seriously hurt, but the scare shook him. For the first time, he felt old, and that terrified him. After the fall, Robert became cautious. He stopped walking as much, avoided stairs whenever possible, and relied on furniture to support himself. But the less he moved, the weaker he became. His daughter, Lisa, noticed the change. She saw how her once active father now hesitated before getting out of a chair. She worried about his future and how long he'd be able to live independently. One evening, Lisa sat down with him and said, "Dad, you've always been strong, but I see you holding back now. What's going on?" Robert sighed. "I just don't feel as steady as I used to. I don't want to fall again." Lisa nodded. "I understand, but avoiding movement isn't the answer. Let's figure out a way to keep you strong." That's when they started researching muscle loss and found out how critical protein is for maintaining strength. Robert had always eaten relatively healthy, but he wasn't paying attention to his protein intake. Breakfast was usually just toast and coffee, lunch was a sandwich, and dinner varied. When they calculated it, he was barely getting half the protein he needed. Determined to make a change, Robert adjusted his diet. He started having eggs and Greek yogurt for breakfast, added lean protein like chicken and fish to his meals, and even enjoyed protein-rich snacks like almonds and cheese. Within a few weeks, he noticed a difference. Standing up felt easier. His legs felt steadier. Encouraged by his progress, he also started doing simple exercises, just light leg lifts and short daily walks. 3 months later, he felt like a new man. He could get up from a chair without struggling, walk confidently, and even play with his grandkids without feeling exhausted. He regained his independence all because he made one simple change: eating more protein. If Robert could turn things around in his late 70s, imagine what's possible for you. But before we move on, let me ask, have you ever had a moment where you felt weaker than before? Maybe you struggled to carry groceries or felt shaky walking upstairs. Share your experience in the comments. All right, now let's break down the key lessons from Robert's story and how you can apply them to your own life. Robert's story teaches us a few powerful lessons about muscle health and aging. The most important one? It's never too late to regain strength. Many people assume that once they start losing muscle, there's no way to get it back. That's simply not true. Your body is always rebuilding muscle, but only if you give it the right nutrition and movement. Another key takeaway is how easy it is to overlook protein intake. Robert wasn't eating unhealthy foods, but he wasn't eating enough of the right foods to support his muscles. Many older adults make the same mistake. If you don't pay attention to how much protein you're getting, chances are you're not getting enough. His story also highlights the importance of consistency. Robert didn't make drastic changes overnight. He simply started eating more protein every day and added gentle movement to his routine. Over time, these small changes led to huge results. So what can we learn from him? Protein is essential, no matter your age. If you want to stay strong, make sure you're eating enough high-protein foods. Muscle loss doesn't have to be permanent. With the right diet and movement, you can rebuild your strength at any age. Consistency is key. Small daily habits, like eating eggs for breakfast or taking short walks, can make a massive difference over time. Fear of falling can lead to more weakness. Avoiding movement because you feel weak can actually make things worse. The stronger you get, the more confident you'll feel. Now let me ask you, what's one small change you can make today to support your muscles? Maybe it's adding an extra source of protein to your meals or taking a short walk after dinner. Let me know in the comments. Next, let's hear another inspiring story, this time from someone who thought they were too old to get strong again, but proved everyone wrong. Meet Eleanor, an 85-year-old woman who spent most of her life staying active. She loved gardening, dancing, and even took daily walks around her neighborhood. But after turning 80, things started to change. She noticed her legs didn't have the same strength they used to. Standing in the kitchen for long periods made her feel tired, and she started using furniture for support when moving around the house. Then, one day, while reaching for a book on a shelf, she lost her balance and fell. That fall changed everything. Eleanor wasn't seriously injured, but the fear it caused stayed with her. She became more cautious, started avoiding certain movements, and little by little, her confidence disappeared. The less she moved, the weaker she felt. She stopped going for walks, spent more time sitting, and before she knew it, even simple tasks like carrying groceries or getting out of bed felt exhausting. Her doctor warned her that muscle loss was taking a toll, but when he suggested strength exercises and more protein, she laughed. "I'm 85. It's too late for me to build muscle now," she said. But then something changed. One day, her grandson David came to visit. He noticed how much she had slowed down and said, "Grandma, I read something interesting. Did you know that people in their 90s can still build muscle? It's never too late." At first, she didn't believe him. But he showed her studies proving that even people in their 80s and 90s can rebuild strength if they eat enough protein and do simple muscle-strengthening exercises. Eleanor decided to give it a try. She started small. Every morning, she had a high-protein breakfast. Scrambled eggs with cheese and a side of Greek yogurt. She made sure to include protein in every meal, even adding snacks like almonds and cottage cheese. She also began gentle strength exercises from her chair. At first, it was just simple leg lifts and using resistance bands. Slowly, she progressed to standing exercises, then short walks in her garden. After 3 months, something incredible happened. She could get up from a chair without using her hands. She walked with confidence again. She even started dancing in her kitchen while cooking. The woman who once thought she was too old to regain strength was now feeling younger and more capable than she had in years. One day she looked at her grandson and said, "David, you were right. It wasn't too late. I just had to start." Eleanor's story proves something powerful. It doesn't matter how old you are. Your body can still get stronger if you give it the right fuel and movement. So tell me, have you ever felt like it was too late to make a change? Or do you know someone who proved that age is just a number? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now, let's talk about the most effective ways to stay strong as you age. Practical steps you can start today. By now, you know how important protein is for preventing muscle loss, and you've seen how people like Robert and Eleanor turned their strength around. But what exactly can you do to keep your muscles strong every day? Here are some simple, effective strategies that can help you stay steady on your feet, walk with confidence, and live independently for years to come. Eating enough protein isn't something you do once in a while. It needs to be part of your daily routine. Aim to include a source of protein in every meal and snack. Instead of just toast for breakfast, add eggs or Greek yogurt. Instead of plain soup for lunch, add beans or chicken. And if you ever feel like skipping a meal, a protein shake can be a great way to make sure you're still giving your muscles what they need. You don't need to lift heavy weights to build muscle. Even gentle strength exercises can help. Try sitting in a chair and standing up without using your hands. That simple movement strengthens your legs. Light resistance bands can also be great for improving balance and stability. If you're not sure where to start, try leg lifts, toe raises, or holding onto a counter and doing small squats. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference over time. Strength doesn't just come from workouts, it comes from movement. Walking, dancing, gardening, and even playing with grandkids all help keep your muscles engaged. The key is to find something you enjoy so that staying active feels fun, not like a chore. Think about what makes you happy. Maybe it's a morning walk, stretching while watching TV, or even doing simple yoga moves. Every bit of movement counts. Muscles don't work well when they're dehydrated. Many older adults don't drink enough water, which can lead to muscle cramps, weakness, and fatigue. Make it a habit to drink water throughout the day, even if you don't feel thirsty. If plain water isn't appealing, try herbal tea or adding lemon slices for flavor. Your muscles and bones work together, so it's important to take care of both. Vitamin D helps your muscles absorb protein, while calcium keeps your bones strong. You can get these nutrients from foods like salmon, dairy, and leafy greens, or by spending a little time in the sunlight each day. Strong muscles are great, but balance is just as important for preventing falls. Simple exercises like standing on one leg while holding onto a chair for support, or walking heel to toe can improve stability. Practicing good posture, keeping your back straight and shoulders relaxed, also helps you move with more confidence. The biggest mistake people make? Waiting too long to start. You don't have to change everything overnight. Even if all you do today is add a little more protein to your diet or take a few extra steps, that's already progress. The key is staying consistent. Small changes, done every day, lead to big results over time. At the end of the day, staying strong isn't just about looking good or lifting heavy things. It's about freedom. The freedom to move without fear. The freedom to take care of yourself. The freedom to do the things you love without relying on others. Think about it. When you feel strong, everything in life feels easier. Walking through the park, getting up from a chair, playing with your grandkids, carrying your groceries, traveling, dancing, even just standing in the kitchen while cooking your favorite meal, it all depends on your strength. And here's the best part. It's never too late to start. Robert thought his best days were behind him until he made small changes and regained his confidence. Eleanor believed she was too old to rebuild strength until she proved herself wrong. If they could do it, so can you. Your muscles are still capable of growing. Your body is still capable of getting stronger, and you deserve to feel confident in your movement for as many years as possible. But here's the thing. It starts with a decision to eat a little more protein, to move a little more each day, to refuse to accept weakness as an inevitable part of aging. So I'll leave you with this question. What's one thing you can do today to take care of your strength? Maybe it's adding an extra egg to your breakfast. Maybe it's standing up from a chair a few extra times. Maybe it's just deciding right now that you're going to take control of your health. Whatever it is, make the choice today, because your future self will thank you. And if this video inspired you, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever had a moment where you realize the importance of staying strong? What's one thing you're going to start doing differently? If you found this information helpful, share it with someone you love. because everyone deserves to know that staying strong is possible at any age. Thank you for watching, and remember, you are stronger than you think.